No more 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradise. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
All right, gentlemen, good morning from paradise. Happy Monday. And it is a glorious Monday to be alive, isn't it, folks? My name is Crypto Amaru, got Web3 Nate, Hitman's in the house. The whole surf crew is here. Lots to cover today. Trump does it again. Trade deal in the books. Markets are running. We have some macro news to cover. It's a big week with the Fed, so we'll dig into that a little bit. Is this the start of alt season in earnest? Is this phase one of alt season where the big caps are moving and then money is starting to slowly trickle down into the low caps and you're going to see your favorite alt bags run 10x? I think it is, so we'll talk about that. And of course, we got a lot of surf news to cover. Big weekend for all the surf holders. Shout out to you guys for continued support. Continue to dig deep when the prices were languishing a bit, and then bam, a couple whales enter and things rebound beautifully. So yeah, happy to be here, guys. All right, let's actually start out with surf because I know Hitman was out on his soapbox with his chart saying, banging that drum. Hey, there's gonna be a reversal here. It's gonna run again soon. And here we are sitting at what is it, 1.7 million market cap, up from 1 million yesterday. So beautiful, beautiful chart.
I mean, it really played out perfectly. If you do technical analysis, this is a falling wedge, so you get all these rejections and you get these support levels that build this bullish falling wedge. We bounced off the low, and now we are at overhead resistance. And what do you see? You see a little bit of red here, getting rejected here. So this is normal. This came off the back of a couple new whales, a couple new DAO members, Pulse Chain doing well. And what's nice is all that volume that is being fueled. I think the DAO wallet is up to like $4,000 right now. The no expectation wallet's up around $8,000 or $9,000. You burnt another 0.2% of the total supply over the weekend. So this is the momentum that builds on these type of tokens. The token taxes are doing their thing. It doesn't take much to turn them around, and then all that economic energy gets built up to get shoved back into the chart at a later date. Of course, the DAO was voted to continually add to liquidity pools with the Surf token, which means you're doing a surf buyback and you're adding it with PLS or PLSX or one of our favorites. The no expectation wallet has shown to produce DeFi yield, has shown to buy and burn surf, has shown to pay for marketing and upgrades. And, there's going to be a snippet out from the last live show because I went on a great rant about what was coming for surf at these lows. So if you watch the last live show, you're up 45% plus passive income. But, there's the dashboard coming very soon. Buybacks and burns on a weekly basis based on DeFi yield and revenue is coming very soon. And everything is really lining up for surf. Now, the one piece that is missing is the next wave of marketing. But there has been, you notice MVS talking about surf a lot. You notice Crypto Night talking about surf a lot. We're going to talk about it here. Learn Crypto is going to talk about it. But we need to get the next wave of people onboarded. We need to get the next wave of micro influencers on Pulse Chain interested and aware of surf so they can get a bag and they start talking about it as well. That's kind of the goal this week, to try to build this next marketing campaign around what Crypto Paradise and the Surf token is doing. And then lastly, we're also going to get the information from Frontier Fund round 2 very soon. And when that happens, I think there's going to be even more people upgrading their surf holdings from wherever they're at to 400,000 surf to get in that round of the fund.
Yeah, I think this bump right here was definitely some new people joining the DAO, people stacking up that 400K bag of surf, pushing that chart right back up into that beautiful trend line there. Just got to get a quick break of that and off to the races, new all-time highs.
Yeah, shout out to Nate. I know you recruited a friend of yours to load up on that 400,000 surf to get into the next round of Frontier Fund. And what I love about the DAO and what it means for the token price is that these are, for the most part, right, I'd say 9 out of 10, or maybe even 99 out of 100, are long-term strong-handed token holders who actually believe in the brand, they believe in the surf token, they're participating in the calls that we do, they're participating in Frontier Fund, they see the value in it, they're making money every day. And so those people are, I would say for the most part, going to hold for, I'd say, the majority, if not all of this bull run. So you got that beautiful floor there now, ending 86 individuals holding 200,000 or more surf. And, that's creating that basically this price floor here. And when things start to, you see a downtrend of whales get out, well, here comes guys coming to buy in and load up and get more heavily positioned in the surf for this bull run.
That was a conversation I had with my buddy. He's looking to get in, and he really wants to join the Frontier Fund. I was like, well, you're going to need, 400K to surf to get into that. And he started looking at the surf token. He's like, man, this looks like it could do pretty well. I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, all right, well, I could, make some money on the surf token too. I was like, well, if you want to be able to speculate on surf, you better buy more than 400K, because the 400K is what you need to stay in the Frontier Fund. So if you want to speculate on surf too, better buy double bag. So he's ready to load up on it, some extra surf here, so he can have some gains to be made on surf, but still be able to stay in the DAO and stay in the Frontier Fund and take advantage of these other opportunities that are going to be coming down the road here. So people are seeing the value in surf, not just from the speculative asset nature of where we're sitting around, what are we at, 1.6 million now, how involved we are with the pulse chain community, but the value adds of things like the Frontier Fund, the retreats that are coming up, all the different opportunities that are presenting themselves in the DAO. So I would not be surprised if we continue to see more people loading up big bags here, whether those are existing Crypto Paradise community that want to join the DAO, existing DAO members that want to upgrade to get into Frontier Fund, or new people that DAO members, team members, community members are evangelating and telling about what's going on over here at Surf, that are bringing in new fresh blood to the Surf DAO. So it's that time of the cycle where pumps are happening. People are getting excited again about opportunities like this.
Yeah, and I think the one utility too of Surf is if you make it to the DAO, of course you get the alpha calls, you get to vote on how your bags are going to get pumped and everything else. But the one thing is that only like 2 people have used is we do have the Paradise Pad down in Tulum, and you can stay there free. Only DAO members can stay there for free for like, what, I don't even know what the rules are, Crypto Armor, like 3 nights or something. There's been a couple people that have done it. The only thing we ask is, hey, you got to have 200,000 surf or more, and then go ahead and do some social content while you're down there. And of course, that's just going to amplify your own social content, because we're going to retweet that ourselves. So, that's another little benefit that people don't take advantage of, and that's worth a few $100s if they're getting a free stay down in Tulum, Mexico, just minutes from the beach.
Yep. The audience approves, and absolutely. I mean, yeah, I can't think of another crypto company offering free trips to paradise. People got to take us up on this stuff. It's just crazy. But you guys, I know you'll be down there in Tulum when we host the retreat in November of this year. So all good. But yeah, one thing I will add real quick here before we pivot over to maybe some more macro topics is we have just announced a daily giveaway to correspond with this daily show. We're giving away $10 in SURF, or maybe it'll be USDT, or maybe it'll be some other tokens that we like and hold bags of, for anyone who is engaged on these live streams and asking questions. So if you ask the best question of that day as judged by us, we're going to send you $10, right? And so easiest way to get some information about the markets, hang out, have a good time, make a quick, easy $10. So looking forward to seeing your guys' comments jumping up here, and then we can have some cool conversations around them as well. So, all right, cool. Surf's looking good. Market's looking good. How are we doing on our favorite, big caps, ETH and BTC?
Were you about to say something, Nate, before I get into the ETH chart?
I was just going to say, I don't want to interrupt the chart here, but at some point we can flip over and show our partners over at Fuck 9 to 5. They got a $5,000 giveaway going on right now. We just retweeted that on the page right there. Not obviously.
Shout out to that $5,000 giveaway.
Nate was so excited he froze there. YouTube's like, oh my. YouTube's like, they're giving away too much money. Cut them off. Gotta be fake. Yeah, so just go ahead and make sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below with your wallet address, and you can win, $10 per live stream. So just incentivizing people to ask questions, incentivizing people to get hyped in the chat boxes. We're now streaming on YouTube and Twitter. I'm not sure if Riverside pulls in the Twitter stuff live, but I know it pulls in the YouTube chat live. We've seen that the past couple live shows. So going on with Ethereum, everybody was excited because Ethereum was breaking out yesterday. It broke out just a little bit, and now it is retesting the previous high. Things still look good. SharpLink Gaming bought another 200 million worth of ETH or something crazy. And right now, the Ethereum Strategic Reserve is what is driving price of ETH. People are like, how is it not exploding if they're buying so much? Well, it's kind of the same thing with the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. Some of these OG whales are selling some positions. Some of the Ethereum is being bought OTC from the ETH Foundation, so it's not hitting the market directly. But I would be very surprised, just with the general macros going on and all these Ethereum strategic reserves, if we don't continue to work our way sideways consolidation here and explode to that 42.35 level and beyond in the near term future. That would be the measured move for this inverse head and shoulders. That would be the breakout move for this descending triangle. That would be a new high for the cycle move. There's just too much confluence for it not to happen here rapidly, and none of these lines has been edited. So we're right on cue. This consolidation could continue, and then we can explode higher and leave some people behind. With the strength of Ethereum also, we've seen massive strength of Pulse Chain. If you've been following along, the cup and handle hit on Pulse Chain to the day, almost to the hour. This is the cup and handle we've been showing you here. Gave this buy in the live show and been following along. Look at this green line. It hit it to the 4-hour candle. Thank you, Richard Hart, for shilling my bags. You must be watching the live stream to give us that explosive euphoria candle right on cue yesterday on a Sunday, which is awesome to see. This is what's helping Surf. This is what is helping Ethereum. This is what's helping Pulse Chain and assets. Movement is coming back. Richard Hart is coming back, but we'll talk more about Pulse Chain later in the show. But nonetheless, Ethereum Strategic Reserve companies still loading up on ETH over the weekend. While the stock market sleeps, they're still buying.
I saw a great post today giving props to Richard Hart. I can't remember. Maybe this might have even been something that you retweeted, Hitman, is, now everybody's all about the ETH Strategic Reserve, and they were the same exact people were giving Richard Hart absolute mad shit a few years back when he, created the Pulse Chain SAC. Now it's the trendy thing. Obviously, the dude's thinking a couple cycles ahead here.
Yeah, I think it was like Eric Wall, who's like a Bitcoin maxi who's kind of against the fringe of Bitcoin because he's not very serious, whatever they do, the Bitcoin wizards or whatever at the conferences. And, he's been a big proponent of talking shit on Pulse Chain's performance and Richard Hart and everything. But even he yesterday was like, maybe it's a little satire, but it is serious. He's sharing the Ethereum Strategic Reserve chart that we always show here. This is the one that we always show. And he's like, wow, Pulse Chain's up here. Richard Hart was ahead of his time. Everybody was giving him shit for buying ETH, but now he's up $7 million on his ETH position and was here before all these other big movers in the publicly traded companies. So very interesting. It'll be interesting to see, I call it the apology tour that is going to happen. And here at Crypto Paradise, and you guys will be winning and making money while all these people come out and they give their apologies. Because at the end of the day, Richard Hart beat the SEC. Pulse Chain, PulseX, Hex as companies and products beat the SEC. Now he's getting a little mouthy, which leads me to believe the Interpol case is almost over. And he's got one of the biggest Ethereum bags known to man. So, at some point, the narrative is going to switch. Pulse Chain is going to continue to perform well. Ethereum is going to break out to new all-time highs. And the apology tour from all these influencers and KOLs who want to get their piece of the pie from Pulse Chain and Pulse Chain projects is going to begin. Because if they just stick with their mantra, they're going to miss out on all the opportunities of Pulse Chain. They're going to miss out on the paid marketing of Pulse Chain. And, of course, the green candles that are coming.
And that's why you follow Crypto Paradise, folks, and tune in these live streams. We're not just following the herd. We're evaluating the market. We're getting out in front of trends. Do we always get it right? No. But getting it right more than we're getting it wrong, especially this cycle. So shout out to you guys, especially Nick, being early on Pulse Chain. I think absolutely it's going to outperform this cycle. And it looks like Richard Hart is about to be unshackled because I'm seeing him make moves and make noise on social media. I'm seeing updates to the websites. I'm seeing all these wonderful things. And, the Interpol case is still apparently, languishing in the background. So we'll see where things go in the next few months. But, I saw an interesting story I just want to pull up because, this notion that folks are complaining about Ethereum price. Well, first of all, that's completely nonsensical. It's done incredibly well over the past few weeks. It is going to break 4,000. It's going to break all-time highs in the next few months. So everyone should just calm down. But I saw this story. I just want to try to pull it up here if I can share my screen real quick. But basically what it said is that crypto is still viewed as, in terms of the mainstream, right, the average Joes, as a very risky and they don't want to participate in the crypto ecosystem. Here, I'm going to try to pull this up real quick. Yeah,
Well, to be
crypto's
fair, they
still
are
seen
they
as
are at
risky.
risk of changing their life for the better. So I mean, if that's what they're worried about, then if they're worried about having to quit their bullshit job and buy a nicer house, if they're worried about providing a better life and taking the risk to give a better life to their family, then maybe it's not for them.
Yeah, apparently. So it's I gotta sign into my account. Hold on here, but um, the bottom line is majority of investors think crypto is risky, but when you dig into these numbers, you start to understand that the majority of men who are, I believe, 18 to like 35 are actually viewing crypto in a positive way. It's the older folks, and then unfortunately, a lot of women view it as too risky and they're not going to touch it, right? But my sort of view on this article is that one, this means that we're early. There's still plenty of room. I think only like 12 or 13% of people in the United States, at least, there's only US people surveyed, own crypto. So a lot of room for, people to continue to buy up and get that number higher. But the fact of the matter is, only 50% of Americans, I think maybe even less, slightly less than 50%, even own stocks after all these years, right?
That's
All these
crazy.
years of the stock market being out and ETFs and 401ks, et cetera, et cetera, because there's just a lot of people that just don't have the money to invest, period. So, I don't look at this story in really in a negative way. I look at, okay, we have upside. And the fact of the matter is investing isn't really for everyone to begin with, sadly enough. And I think Nate sort of jokingly intimated that this is the way to change your life over time. But this is where we're at. We're still early days, and so when people are wondering, hey, why isn't ETH running? Why is it? Well, shouldn't Bitcoin be at 500,000? Well, we're still early days, and average Joes are not really behind this asset class in a meaningful way yet.
Yeah, to talk about the Bitcoin performance too, real quick. There was that little bit of sell-off on Friday, and we were like, "What is going on?" We talked about it. Galaxy Digital was selling. We're like, "What are they doing? Are they rotating the ETH?" Well, they actually released information that was one solo investor
Nine
that was
billion.
looking to get their finances in order. So who knows what they're doing? Maybe they're just cashing out and they're going to go live on a beach, or maybe they're sick and they're trying to get their will in order, whatever. But I think the more important piece is not that somebody sold tokens; it's that the market digested a $9 billion Bitcoin sell that happened in the matter of 12 hours, and Bitcoin only went down $2,000. And by the end of the weekend, it's back up higher than when that guy started selling. That is what I think is amazing. That is showing that Bitcoin is coming to the forefront, getting thick liquidity, and has continued demand. Because yes, Bitcoin, I'm saying 244,000 by the end of the year, and for that to happen, we got to start seeing some green candles. But if it's able to absorb 9 billion in sales in the course of 12 hours and bounce right back, that's amazing. Just last cycle, people would panic because somebody might sell 1 billion. Now people are actively selling billions and billions on the open market, not OTC, and the market is digesting that. That's awesome to see.
And shout out to that guy, by the way, who held for like 15 years, right? This was an early Bitcoin guy, and he invested like 50 grand early, right? Which is crazy. Almost nobody did that. And anyone who did do that didn't hold on this long and didn't retain their Bitcoin because they got hacked, stolen, lost, and wherever. This is the one guy that I'm aware of that had that much Bitcoin from the early days that still had it, and he's cashing out. And I read the article was sold through Galaxy Digital. We were all wondering, okay, Galaxy Digital, where are they getting all this Bitcoin? How are they selling this Bitcoin? Well, it's the one guy. And to Nick's point, the market absorbed it. Apparently, he wants to invest in real estate. Good for him. But yeah, look, I just still think we're very early in this asset class existence. Yes, the majority of Americans think it's risky, but my guess is, and I don't have the data to back this up, but my guess is when the stock market first came out, like the 1930s or whatever, when it like meaningfully came out and people could invest. I know we had the big crash there in the great led to the Great Depression, but when there's a new market, a new technology, the majority of people, especially if it involves money, are going to be afraid of it, and it takes years and years and years, maybe even generations, for that asset class to become accepted, that new technology to become accepted, and for more people to say, you know what, the reward outweighs the risk. But we're still in the early days here, folks. And I just think for anyone's worried about, price to ETH, price of Bitcoin, zoom out, think 5 or 10 years ahead, and be like this guy. Be like this guy. You're not going to get 9 billion worth of Bitcoin. You're not, that those days have come and gone. But if you can grab a Bitcoin now, right, or even like 20 ETH, whatever you want to do, right, and you can hodl that shit for 10 years, you'll be able to retire early off that asset, off that investment.
Well, it's understandable that people think it's risky, that people are scared of this technology. Until the last 6 months, all they've heard from the media, all they've heard from their government is that cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, Bitcoin is a scam. It's a fugazi. It's fake money. It's a bunch of internet bros trying to rug each other. Like, of course, they're gonna think it's risky and that it's fake and that it's some sketchy technology. That's what they've been told for the last 8 years, if they've even heard anything about it. So, now all of a sudden, all these institutions and governments are all on board, and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, that's only in the last 6 months. Until, you rewind the clock, basically prior to the last election, obviously, Trump was campaigning and, talking positively about Bitcoin. But even Trump, you go back to his first, 4 years in office, he was not a fan of Bitcoin and crypto, right? So it's understandable that people, especially people that are not at the that aren't, tech type people like my parents that, they didn't grow up with this stuff. Of course, they're not, on the forefront of this technology. They've been told that it's the antithesis, that it's going to ruin their entire life savings, all they've built up with their stock portfolio, et cetera. So I get it. At the same time, though, for people that are, a little more open-minded, people that are more tech savvy, guys, you're going to be missing out if you can't, you don't have to take our word for it. Just go out there and start studying a little bit. Take an hour once or twice a week and learn a little bit about what's actually going on in this industry. There's a reason that we've seen a flip of the script from these institutional people, from the governments of the world, who were telling you a year ago that Bitcoin is the devil, and now they're saying it's the world reserve currency and it's going to replace everything and whatever else, now that it's the cool thing to do. So understandable if you're behind on the technology, but it's not too late. Get out there, quit FOMOing and actually go out there and start studying, start learning, start investing, have some fun with it, and you'll still be ahead of 90% of people when they start to come into this industry.
Ian, I'm about to show a chart here, and I want you to play the Crypto Paradise theme song when I show this. And while you guys are listening to the theme song, just to, hit that like button, leave a comment in the comment section below with your wallet address, and maybe you'll win $10. It's really that simple. But here's the chart I wanted to show.
No more 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradise.
I mean, when everybody else was telling you that your 401k was becoming a 201k, we told you, no, this is going to be a V-shaped recovery. We did videos on why it's going to happen. We gave you these buys live on air. And what do you know? V-shaped recovery, new all-time highs today once again for NASDAQ, new all-time highs today once again for S&P 500, and the Dow Jones is sitting right at its previous all-time highs. So hopefully you've been tuning in, because I guarantee there's a lot of people who sold down here who are watching Bill Maher and all these losers talking about how the world is going to end, Trump's ruining everything, Tim Waltz making jokes about Tesla stock. Why would you listen to the financially incompetent individuals when it comes to your trading bag? Like, I don't understand it, but congratulations, V-shaped recovery confirmed. Will there be volatility up here somewhere? Probably. It probably makes sense to retest this all-time high at some point. But right now, everything looks good. Tariffs getting delayed, tariff money that's still going on coming in, Trump talking about rebates, potentially rate cuts. Powell looked like he was going to shit his pants when he was hanging out with Trump the other day. So I don't know what's going to happen, but everything's pointing to there's a lot of fiat currency on the sideline, and it's finding its way into crypto. It's finding its way to Bitcoin, ETH, and the stock market.
The video of Trump and Powell at the Fed was pure comedy gold. That was some good stuff.
I think the problem is a lot of people let their partisanship and their just preconceived biases get in the way of proper decision making, right? Like if you're anti-Trump or whatever the case may be, any of these policies. Oh, I'm mad about what's happening in the Middle East, so everything that Trump does is bad, and therefore I'm out of the markets. And I got friends that think this way. It's like completely bananas. But the fact of the matter is, Trump has been killing it. He's been absolutely on a tear. If you care about the things we care about, look, if you just got picked up by ICE, I'm sure you feel differently. But if you're like me, you're investing in the financial markets, you're loving this stuff. Just yesterday, sort of pulled a rabbit out of his hat. That deal with the EU looked dead on arrival. The EU had been saying, like, we're not going to capitulate, we're going to retaliate. It's going to be 100% tariffs, retaliatory tariffs against American whiskey companies, and like we're going to fight Trump to the death. Lo and behold, yesterday, a 15% tariff. The broad contours of a deal has been announced. That deal is going to be put into effect. So the trade deal with the EU, one of the most challenging, I think, that the Trump administration was negotiating, has been completed. 15% tariff. What a wonderful thing. So improbable on its face. And yet it happened, just like a lot of the other stuff Trump has done. So, I mean, for those who have been viewing things through a partisan lens, or for those who have just been a hater or whatever, it's time to open up your mind a little bit and say, look, I don't have to love everything about the president, but here are 5 or 6 policies that he put in place that have improved my life, that improve the economy. I mean, you can go down the list. Egg prices are down, gasoline, inflation's down. The war with Iran was contained. They just resolved that thing in Cambodia and Thailand. Nate was mentioning before we went on air here. So you can go on and on down the list. Now, is all of it perfect? Probably not. But stock markets at all-time highs, Bitcoin's at all-time highs, ETH, big caps are running. It's not like random happenstance that this is happening. It's largely due to Trump's policy. So I think we need to give him a shout out, give him an acknowledgement. And I think the good times are continue to roll here, because it seems like the president's instincts have been correct pretty much on every issue across the board.
If Trump Coin wants to sponsor Crypto Paradise, we're open to it. Yeah, the other thing that you didn't mention is the numbers just came out for the border crisis that we had. The crossings from illegals into the United States was at 0 for last month. 0. That the only country that rivals that is Poland, and Poland's allowed to shoot illegals on site. So they're doing a good job, considering people complain about us kicking people out or how ICE handles thing. Well, the law isn't we can't shoot them on site, and we have the same number as Poland. So I think we're doing okay.
We also have the big this week actually is a pretty big week for the markets as well. So while I think we're all expecting continued upside, heads up for some volatility. The biggest one this week, we've got the FOMC meeting. Is that Wednesday or Thursday?
That's Wednesday. Yep, that's Wednesday this week. They've
Right
got a
now,
PCE reading later in the week. There's a number of economic data points coming out here soon.
A lot of big stuff happening. So this could be a volatile week, but I mean, probably the biggest surprise would be if they came out and cut rates. Man, the markets would absolutely fly if that happened. Not expected to, but the full court press has been on.
You do wonder though if this tariff deal, right, with the EU and the one that we did last week with Japan. And I know there has been a number of others with Southeast Asian companies, and the China one seemingly sort of has also kind of been crystallized a bit too. With all these trade deals now sort of being more or less finalized, I know there's a lot outstanding, but that was Powell's big, argument for why they didn't want to cut rates. Too much uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen with these tariffs. We don't know if they're going to cause inflation, and therefore we're sitting on our hands. Well, okay, you sat on your hands for 5 months now, 4 or 5 months. Inflation hasn't reignited. The trade deals have been mostly resolved, at least with the big countries. And life has gone on. And in the meanwhile, by the way, the labor market's still looking shaky. It's much harder to find a job. People are not switching jobs as readily. They're not able to switch jobs. They're not moving. The housing market is essentially frozen due to these high rates. And so I think you look at the balance of everything, and to me, Powell should absolutely do a 25 basis point, throw us some red meat here. Doesn't have to be a jumbo cut. Just do something, get Trump off your back. Show the American people that things are heading in the right direction from a rate standpoint. I don't know if we'll do it. He's a stubborn son of a bitch. He'll probably just be like, nope, we still don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs. We still don't know what's going to happen with inflation. And so they'll keep him high. But it's a real shame. But I do hope that this trade deal with the EU could tip things a little bit more in the direction of, okay, we can finally cut these rates.
Well, currently Polymarket has us on a 96% no change, 4% for a 25 basis point cut, and a 1% 50 basis point cut. But if these have been pretty accurate so far, I'd expect probably no change this week. If we do get a cut, man, markets will absolutely rip.
Oh, you're muted.
I'll just say, yeah, it's not pricing in the market. 96% of the market's saying it's not going to happen. So if it happens, that's good. I think you should just do the 25 basis points just to save face and see what happens. But we'll see what happens moving forward. If not, man, I don't know. Even I was at dinner, family dinner, and one of my dad's buddies, very liberal. Even he said, I don't agree with anything Trump is doing or saying, but the first thing that I do agree with is that interest rate cuts need to happen. So it's like people continue to start opening their eyes, and that's the one thing that people can get behind. He came from the financial sector, and he's like, Europe's cutting rates, Japan's cutting rates, China's cutting rates. Why aren't we cutting rates? We have massive debt that we need to refinance. Why wouldn't we want to get that finance cheaper when we are the global reserve currency? We have the Fed, we have all the power. Why aren't we using it? So, interesting times ahead. Is there any other news topics we want to talk about? And then we can jump into the DGen stuff. Maybe shill some of our alpha calls that we've been making over in the Surf DAO and see what's going on.
I will just say one other thing on the rate cuts. I don't think the market's going to crash on Wednesday if there's no cut, because the expectation is no cut. So if no cut happens, it's going to be business as usual. Maybe see a little volatility that day. We'll obviously whatever Powell says on the press conference, also affects the market. But if it's the kind of standard dry like non-answers that he tends to give, I think, we're looking at a very sanguine day that day, nothing crazy, maybe a tiny bit of volatility. But if no cut, that's what everyone's expecting, no cut. And then it's what is he going to say in that presser? Is he going to say, hey, now we're looking at September? Are we looking at later this year? Or, this year's, this year we're not looking to cut rates at all. Now it's 2026. If he says that, it's not going to be good. But we'll have to wait and see on that press conference. But I just, I don't want anyone watch the show to be like, oh, my God, I should sell my bags in advance of this press conference and this rate decision, because I don't think it's going to make a huge heck of a difference in the market.
It's when you get something unexpected is when you're going to see the massive swings in the market. Yeah, if they come out and they don't cut rates, everybody's expecting them not to cut rates, no problems. If they come out and they're expected to cut rates and they don't, that's where you have the issues. If they're not expected to and they do, then you see a big pump. Like otherwise, if things are at status quo, nothing to worry about.
Yeah, we can switch gears to some DGen stuff. Obviously, we covered Surf in the beginning of the live stream. Would love to hear. Oh, looks like we got some people in the chat. Anyone? Okay, we got some comments here. That's not really a question, my good sir. So, in order to win your monies, you got to ask a question. But anyway, hope to hear from you with a witty question or something interesting. But what do you got going on there with?
Yeah, I mean, this is the Surf token just added a new LP. It was with PDI. This is kind of the cult of cults. They think this thing is going to peg to $1. This is the P copy of the DAI stablecoin. Of course, it is doing very well off the low. This stupid coin continues to rally. And now we have a liquidity pool. The DAO voted for this, obviously, because it is a massive cult and there is a lot of volume. So hopefully the Surf token can get some of that volume and get some of that economic power. If we keep scrolling down here, we got Dose. We called this to the Surf DAO group. 200,000 Surf or more to get in there at 100K market cap. In the last live show, what did we say, Ian? We said we're right on the Fibonacci retracement here at the 0.5. In Wyckoff teachings, if it is a strong asset, you want to buy that 0.5 fib retracement. What do you know? Boom, exploded over the weekend back to previous all-time high and now consolidating at higher levels, up 40% since the last live show. I don't know. Maybe you should just listen and buy when we say to buy. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Better yet, get in the DAO and get in when it's at $100,000 market.
All the way down here, this mere blip down here.
That's how you really do it. But a lot of gems we've been involved with this early part of the cycle, and I know we're talking to a handful of other strong projects inside the Pulse Chain ecosystem, outside the Pulse Chain ecosystem, Solana, whatever, that I think are poised to do very well this cycle. Because the fact of the matter is this. A lot of things are going to do well this cycle. A lot of the strong projects, good narratives, good teams, good marketing, they're going to do well. You just want to find about them early so you can get that maximum upside, that 10, 50, that 100x return, change your life, and then you can buy a condo next to us on the beach in Tulum.
Any comments on Dose before we switch topics here, Nate or Ian?
No, man, they're just killing it. I know Royal Geezer, our homie over there, has got a lot cooking. In the background, and I will say this, they're playing the long game, So for anyone who's like, oh my God, it's not running now, why is it retracing? Just calm down. They're playing the long game. They want to shake out weak hands. They want to see only the true believers make it over the next 6-12 months that they continue to push this project and this narrative. So yeah, Geezer's got a lot of surprises up his sleeve, I'm sure, and we look to have him on the show again. We got to have him up for another update here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, we got some fresh content coming out on them, and as well as a lot of our other partner projects here in the next couple days. The editor's been hard at work. We keep him busy with a lot of content, but some good stuff coming out later this week.
Nice. On to the next. We'll go to Dubcat. The purple meme cat on Solana ran by a CTO ran by Bit Shaman. He reached out and said he's going to be on Crypto Paradise soon. We can get on his channel hopefully to cross promote with Surf and Dubcat. They continue to rally off the lows, up 147% from when we talked about it right here on the live show. Another winner. Of course, the market's doing well, but you need to be in the good assets, avoiding rugs, avoiding scams, getting into real communities. And there's another 147% gainer, and a hint at some alpha that we are going to be doing some content with people that are outside of Pulse Chain in this Solana degen game, and hopefully we can get them over the bridge to Pulse Chain, and hopefully one of their first buys is, of course, the Surf token.
I'm about to message Bit Shaman right now. We got to get him on the show, and you know what we really got to do? We got to get his ass down to Tulum for the retreat. That guy is a good fucking time. You want to hang out with Bit Shaman. He's hilarious, dude. He's a great time. We got to get him down to the retreat. So I'm going to hit him up right now. We're still supporting his coin. It's a year later. I mean, for anyone who's questioning, every KOL, they're just dumpers. They just, buy and dump a week later. We've been holding and supporting Dubcat for over a year. So just remember that, folks, and you guys are deciding who to pay attention to, who to follow, who to support. You want folks who are long-term in the trenches with you, and that's Crypto Paradise.
Then we got Emit.
Real ones for sure.
Yep, we got Emit. This is a yield farming platform on Pulse Chain. We had the call at like 49 cents. It's currently at $1.08. It was $1.20. It's just in this range between $1.33 and $1.01. So a clean double up, even if you don't count all this. And it's producing really nice passive income. You can solo stake Emit to earn PDI, which is stable coins. You can farm with the Surf token and various other tokens to earn good APRs. And Emit is one that Crypto Paradise participates in. We earn Emit, solo stake it, and now we're earning DAI that is going to the treasury. That's going to be used for Surf, buy, and burn. So shout out to those guys over there. They just enhanced the Surf Emit farm over the weekend to put it back to a 99% APR on the Surf Emit pair. They see the value and liquidity with Surf, and obviously I would too because Surf rallied 45% over the weekend. So that helps them out as well.
Yeah, a lot coming for Surf vis-a-vis these sort of farming protocols, DeFi generating protocols, RhinoFi comes to mind as well in that category. But as the Hitman intimated in the early part of this stream, we are actually the dev who helps us, build out various products for Crypto Paradise, is building a dashboard. The dashboard is going to show a lot of different facts and figures around Surf and your holdings, most notably the amount of tokens getting burned. And so we are going to start taking the yield that we're generating from the likes of Emit farms, from the likes of Vox, from the likes of Rhino. We're going to take that by Surf every week on a particular day, and we are going to burn that Surf, right through the dashboard, right through the widget, through the tool that's being built as we speak. So, just an example of what we're doing to, help the Surf token and, obviously shed positive light on these projects that are building great farming and great DeFi products on Pulse Chain here. But really looking forward to getting that buy and burn going. It's going to be really exciting.
And here's one that I know Nate will have. I was going to say, here's one I know Nate will have some comments on. Fuck 9 to 5. You were talking about it a little earlier. We're in this guy at 300K market cap, and then reiterated it here in a private video post at $2 million market cap right before the next surge. Went to 8.5 million. Consolidating here, what do you know, back to 4.5 million. If you watch that video, I told you it was going to break out. It was going to go to 8 to 10 million. It went to 8.5 million, and then I said it was going to reconsolidate and hold above this level, make this level a floor, and so far it is doing just that. These guys are doing a lot to try to get this next leg up and push towards 10 million, so then you make this a floor, and then you rinse and repeat, and you have a movement coin that can go to billions of dollars in market cap, trying to be the next whatever that is, SPX 6900 or DJI 69420 or whatever these movement coins are that Murad pushes. Well, here's one that's still potentially in the floor and that we got involved with. The Surf DAO members got a 300K and then a 2 million. what they got going on, Nate.
Oh, I was gonna for fuck 9 to 5. Yeah, they pinged us today. They've got a $5,000 user generated content competition, and it's super simple to enter. Check out the post we retweeted today here. But I think top 3 places split about $3,000, and then the rest they've got multiple prizes underneath that. So it's not like only 3 people are gonna win. I think they've got like a dozen or more prizes are going to be given away. Everything from fuck 9 to 5 gear. They've got coffee mugs, hats, hoodies, a lot of cool swag on their website. They're giving away tokens, giving away USDT. So super simple. Just got to go over, get involved with them, create some content, create a meme, take a video of yourself. Get out there and get active with their community, and maybe win yourself a part of that $5,000 UGC competition. We just got done doing one with Trebly, and these guys kicked this one off. Runs to the end of the month here, or end of August next month.
Yeah, I love what these guys are doing. All these community-oriented contests, giveaways, sort of content creation. That's how you build a strong community over time. So I think they're doing everything right. The core holders are diamond handing it clearly. They're aiming to bring this thing to the hundreds of mils and beyond. So I think they're going to get there, and we'll be supporting along the way. I see you got Kaiken here, a dog coin near and dear to our heart, of course. Those guys continue to grind it out every single day with raids, active on the Telegram. They got the Tesla contest going on. It hasn't always been easy. I mean, anytime a coin's been out for over a year, you got to dig deep and find those kind of moments of fortitude during the downtrends. But these guys still doing well. And I think we just need dog season to run. We need ETH to continue to show strength, and Kai's going to do well this cycle, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, Kai benefits from ETH strength. Also, you are seeing it is putting in higher lows after every one of these rips, and every time this rips, the weak can't sell out, and it looks like the Chads are buying up the supply to keep these higher lows going. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect this thing to go straight to the moon, but you just look at this higher level. I wouldn't also turn down the opportunity of some kind of nice rounded bottom and rotation to the upside. If ETH shows some strength, if Kaiken can get a marketing deal, or some of these KOLs who have gone dormant on Kaiken, because remember, Supo Man talked about Kaiken. Now he's talking about fuck 9 to 5 and SPX 6900. B Roots was talking about Kaiken. Ian H was talking about Kaiken. If some of these guys see some strength again, or Kaiken reaches out, or they get another marketing push going, and those guys start speaking, this thing can get going to the upside rapidly once again.
We got a comment from one of our viewers here, Quintino. What's going on, buddy? Thank you for leaving that comment. I think he's looking for some TA on Tau. I'm not sure. Taubot/Tau 0x gas done and stay dovish. I'm not entirely sure what all that meant, but Tau is a coin I haven't really looked into heavily. My position on projects that are already sitting in the billions and whatever, hundreds of mils, whatever. I just think their time is probably their upside is limited. But I know Tau is one of those AI coins that I think maybe companies are looking to acquire that coin for their own strategic reserves. Maybe Nate knows a little more about it.
Yeah, Tau's one of the leaders in the AI space. They're a big infrastructure project. They've got their own subnets. The subnets are really popular right now. There's actually kind of an OTC sort of investment opportunity that big funds are getting interested in around their subnets. There's been a few companies that have done like you mentioned, a similar MicroStrategy-esque approach with Tau, the BitTensor coin. But very, very popular, very high potential infrastructure play in the meme space. But as you mentioned, already at almost a $4 billion market cap. Can it go higher? Of course. If AI really continues to blow up like many people think it will, this could be a great long-term hold. This could be something we see grow to a $20 billion or $40 billion market cap in the future. But is it going to return the quick short-term gains that you're going to see from a surf, from an emit, from a Rhino Fi, things like that? Of course not. But it is a great option to have in your portfolio, especially if you're looking for something a little more stable. This still has lots of upside.
Nice. And now next one on the list, of course, is PTGC, the greatest currency. We had these guys on in a live show trying to get the recorded video done and hopefully out to you guys, because it has broken out of a 4-month consolidation just as predicted. Look at this blue line I drew here. And, drew it, never moved it when we were right here. Look what happened. Well, absolutely explosive to the upside. And we'll see if this is another, top out consolidation, another move higher. As we see the top out and consolidation could happen here. This will be relying on kind of the performance of PLS and PLSX if it wants to go even higher. But 322% off the low, paying passive income and burning a ton of tokens. I saw overnight at like midnight, their DAO voted to buy and burn $20,000 worth of tokens. That is absolutely massive, and it seems like a massive number, but it's up to 211 million market cap. When you have a token tax system and your market capitalization gets higher, your volume goes up. And realize this volume is producing 5% fees that is going to the DAO, that is going to holders, that is going to LP ads, that is going to token burns. This is the same thing that can happen to Surf over time. As the volumes increase, so does that dollar figure in your wallet. Now, the $20,000 buy on a 200 million market cap obviously didn't shoot price to the upside, but it's continuing to make this supply deflationary. And over time, that's how it achieved this market cap, and that's how it's going to achieve $1 billion and beyond market cap. And we're taking the same philosophies, applying it to the Surf token, and hopefully over time the Surf token can follow in the footsteps of PTGC. One of our favorite ones here. This is the first Pulse Chain play I ever brought on Crypto Paradise was PTGC around like $2 million market cap. So congratulations.
Who bought in then?
This is when I was trying. Look, Crypto Amaru and Nate are newer to Pulse Chain, trying to get them to bridge over. They probably still don't even own PTGC, but it's kind of what ingratiated into Pulse Chain, and it's what made them believe that Pulse Chain is a possible viable network as the green candles on PTGC. And this is what I say to people. Whether you think you missed the boat or you didn't miss the boat, you shouldn't have jealousy of the successes on the network. You should look at them, you should admire them, and then understand that if this is the green candles that get you onboarded, fine, get over to the network and look at other projects. But I think the same applies for many other people in my community, including these two right here, that the green candles and success of PTGC made you open up your eyes to the possibility that Pulse Chain could have success and that the Surf token could be launched on Pulse Chain and have success as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, when you see a ecosystem, protocol, project do extremely well, maybe you didn't buy in early, maybe you never buy, but you can sort of look and say, all right, what projects are doing similar things out there, maybe at a lower market cap. Now I can get into this thing that's going to run. I can do, maybe it won't do quite as well, but it'll do half as well, and I bought it early, so I'll do great. So that's kind of how I look at things. There's a lot of innovation happening on Pulse Chain. I think PTGC obviously kind of leading the way in that respect. Innovated on a lot of different things with the token tax ecosystem, but Surf's obviously doing its thing in a similar manner. Rhino-Fi is another great example of a project sort of you taking the token tax system PTGC created and then innovating on top of it, adding their twist with a charging wallet and the monthly giveaways of $300 to the top holders, etc. So there's a lot of great innovation on Pulse Chain. I hope people are not sleeping on it still. And even if they are, I mean, they'll come in later when it's ripping and roaring after Richard Hart is, dumping his $600 million of ETH into Pulse Chain.
Well, and there's so many more opportunities out there, even just the few projects that we're working directly with. You mentioned a few there. Look at Vox. Their token, I think it's at like an $80,000 market cap right now. A 10x is 800K market cap. 100x is an 8 million market cap. Like, come on, there's still so much opportunity. You can get butthurt. Oh, I missed PTGC. I missed Hellman's 100x call on that. Or you can get out there and find the next one. Like this, take this one way of being, negative. I missed it. Or hey, here's the opportunity. Let's go out there and hunt for the next big thing. So they're out there. We're trying to bring them to you every week.
So shout out to those guys. Surf token does have a small LP with PTGC and UFO. Hopefully it gets bigger over time. We'll see what happens with that. And they're leading the way. And this is definitely a project you want to be tied to because this thing is going to go to billions. I'm just letting you know. This is going to be the Trojan horse of Pulse Chain. It's available on CoinGecko. It's in the top 300. And when that thing cracks the top 200 and the top 100, that is going to be the one project that everybody sees and like, wait a second, why does this network have a different logo on it? This is the Trojan horse to get people onto Pulse Chain. PLS, PLSX, Hex, INC, they're not on CoinGecko. They're not properly rated. This is going to be the Trojan horse. Mark my words. If you think you're late, yeah, maybe it's only a 4x, a 5x, a 10x. But if you think Pulse Chain, here's the thing. PTGC does a 2x of what Pulse Chain does. Pulse Chain just did a 40% move. PTGC went up 120%. If you think Pulse Chain is going to do a 10x, Is it possible that PTGC does a 20x? I don't know. That's the history. That's the math. So we shall see. It seems like it's going to melt your face, but there's a very big possibility that PTGC is in the top 100, or dare I say even the top 25 assets in all of crypto by the end of the cycle. Just saying. Next is Rhino and Rhino 5, obviously a collaboration partner with Crypto Paradise. We let the surf guys know, hey, this thing's about to launch. It launched at a $40,000 market cap. The Surf DAO members were some of the first people to get the contract address, and it is now a $800,000 market cap. Congratulations on that 20x, folks. That's where I thought you would have the cheering audience right there, and that's the one time you did.
Sleep at the wheel.
The applause break.
I was looking at the chart, and yeah, wow, look at that beautiful uptrend line there. I guess I haven't been paying close enough attention to Rhinify over the weekend here, but yeah, I think these guys are about to really fly because they have, I think it's around $20,000 worth of PLS they're about to dump in the chart via their charging wallet. So, and that happens every 28 days, and we'll see how much it ultimately ends up being amount per month. But this month it's looking about $15,000 or $20,000, which on a low cap like this is really going to make it fly. So yeah, shout out to everyone who's got into Rhinify early, held on. I mean, you guys are earning that passive income too if you're providing liquidity, which is one avenue that we are earning income ourselves to then buy back and burn surf. So it's a beautiful, beautiful ecosystem.
Yeah, they're doing their thing, and the way it works is if you provide LPs, you don't earn more Rhino that's going to be dumped on the market. You actually earn PLS based on the tax system. So, we're getting PLS there. We're getting stable coins from EMIT. We're doing things with Vox, and it's all starting to add up. But it's good to see that this is another big winner for the DAO. And like you said, I think it's like 6 days away or something. It's a forced buy and burn. There is not, oh, we got all this PLS, maybe we'll do. No, every 28 days, whatever's built up in that wallet is a forced buy and burn. And maybe some people will game the system and they'll buy now and try to sell into that green candle. But guess what? There's a token tax system. So if you want to play that game, you're only fueling the system even more. And yeah, big buy and burn coming. Excited to see that. Of course, Surf has a pretty big LP with Rhino. So that green candles on Rhino helps Surf price and helps Surf volume. And, if you tuned into the spaces, the Friday Chill and Chills, they were kind of giving this alpha, but also giving the alpha that they're actually going to get in the DAO group with the project itself, which means at some point they are going to be buying 200,000 more Surf tokens off the open market and have the actual Rhinify project as a DAO member in Crypto Paradise. Now, for any project listening, I think that's pretty good marketing, and you'll definitely be at the forefront of conversation, and that your handle will be seen by a group of 80, 90, 100 whales at any given day.
That's an alpha right there.
We've been bullish on these guys since day one. These type of projects are really reminding me. I talked about it in a video I recorded last week. It hasn't came out yet, but I got started during the yield farming craze. Like back in early 21 was really when I was kind of going full time in crypto, and it was all like the dex days when every day there was 10 new dexes. There's animal dexes and food dexes and whatever, and everybody was yield farming like crazy. Not that I'm saying that what we're seeing on Pulse Chain is as hyperbolic or as certainly not as scammy as what we saw on BSC there, but the fun and kind of the yield farming DeFi craze, it's reminding me a lot of the early days on 2021 when BNB was really blowing up. Starting to see all these cool creative new DeFi yield farming options on Pulse Chain. It's got me really excited. I'm actually farming a bunch of these. I've got farms on EMIT, on Rhino, on Vox, on what's another one of Vox's, the Hype token. I've got like 4 or 5 different farms going right now. Absolutely loving it. Having a lot of fun with it. And obviously make sure you understand impermanent loss, please, before you start any of these things. We don't need those. We don't need that FUD in the chat there. But cool opportunities if you understand what you're doing. Always DYOR and not financial advice, but great way to earn some passive income.
Yeah, and the nice thing, like I said, we're earning PDI and we're earning regular DI and we're earning PLS, and of course, Crypto Paradise is going to take all that for buy and burns. Even my personal wallet, every morning it's nice to have my coffee. I can claim my rewards. I take 25 to 50% of that every day, whether it's $5, $10, $20, doesn't matter. And I just go and buy Surf, and the other half I do with what I think is a good deal, whether that's PTGC or X or PLS, and that's kind of for my personal bag to pay real world life bills in the future. But that's just another thing we're doing here, trying to be benevolent and using our yield and our connections. I'm just trying to buy and hold surf indefinitely in that wallet based on my yield.
Surf still undervalued, but we have a gentleman here who wants us to talk about one of the biggest coins on Pulse Chain, probably the biggest one that brought most people into it anyway, and that's Hex. Let's go Hex, he writes on YouTube. Shout out to you, sir. Yeah, how are things going in the world of Hex? Looks like
Hex
big.
Yeah, I'm not a Hex guy, but Hex has been outperforming all the other Pulse Chain assets since that whale dumped. So there's a big whale who dumped like billions of Hex, and people are panic selling and trying to rotate out. And as soon as his wallet ran out, that thing just got bought up and it surged. So whether that's from internal traders watching the charts, Richard Hart, who knows, but been absolutely on a tear.
Wow.
And I don't know where the tool is to do it on here. Maybe I can look. I don't know. Anyways, it's up over 100% in the past like 9 days or something crazy, just straight up with the rest of the market and outperforming all the other assets on Pulse Chain. So Hex essentially is a digital CD. So if you know what a CD is in the bank, this is the opportunity for delayed gratification, earning yield on your long-term digital CD over time. It did a 10,000x last cycle. This is what kind of put Richard Hart on the map. Some people hated him. Some people call it a scam. But nonetheless, the token is still here. If you owned it on Ethereum, you got a 1-to-1 airdrop snapshot of it here on Pulse Chain. So now you have PHEX and EHEX. And it's starting to rip back over a penny here for the Pulse Chain version of Hex. I'm not sure what the Ethereum version of Hex is doing. And shout out to those guys. Shout out to that cult that kind of started it all. And, hopefully some of the Hex people see what we're doing here. We're bringing people onto Pulse Chain. Maybe they stumble to Hex. Maybe they stumble to Surf. But they stumble to Surf. We have liquidity pools with both PHEX and EHEX. And we continue to add to those liquidity pools, which means that Crypto Paradise, whether you like it or not, is giving you exposure to Hex and buying Hex off the open market.
I think the success of Hex is a reminder that if something is out for long enough, right, whatever the initial view of it, and this could apply to Richard Hart as well, right, or many Pulse Chain assets, which I think were at first viewed of as scams or questionable somehow, or there was a negative view of them. If they're out for long enough and they stand the test of time, people have no choice but to come around and say, this is a legitimate part of this industry now, right? And Hex has proven it stood the test of time. It's not a scam. Same as Richard Hart. He beat the SEC. He's still out there. He's still building. I think he, in fact, just yesterday or today, announced an update to the main PulseChain.com website. So, he's still grinding away. So, eventually, I think people are going to come around and say, you know what? Not a scam. We were wrong. We fucked up. The apology tour you talked about. And I think at that point, there is going to be a major inflows in the Pulse Chain ecosystem as the industry realizes, you know what? We were wrong about this, and now it's time to give them their flowers.
Yeah, PulseChain.com, upgrade here. Go to PulseChain.com, hit the bridge button, and get over to PulseChain. Of course, I'm going to be biased and tell you to buy Surf token, but I think PTGC is kind of the index of the chain. And also, out of the blue chips, I know this guy loves Hex. I personally like PLSX because it is the decentralized exchange token. And instead of, Uniswap taking these fees in, all fees are just burnt. They buy and burn PLSX, and they are burning like $20,000 to $30,000 per day of that token, even with people not really even knowing about Pulse Chain yet. So that's good to see.
Let's talk for a second about Liberty Swap, because it looks like Richard Hart is all in on Liberty Swap, and we're working on some sort of deal with them or partnership with them, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if I spilled too many beans here, but Liberty Swap is, I think, probably the best way to get assets in and out of Pulse Chain. Obviously, you have the main bridge on PulseChain.com, but Liberty Swap's another means of doing that. So I don't know, Nick, if you have any insights there on Liberty Swap, but
Liberty Swap came up as an easy bridge option where you can bridge from all of EVM chains over to Pulse Chain, and people were like, I don't know if I should trust it. Who are these guys? But now Richard Hart is supporting it. It's on PulseChain.com, and they are getting more and more influence over interactions on Pulse Chain. And yesterday, Surf is ripping, Pulse Chain is ripping, we're spreading the good word on Pulse Chain, I'm doing videos, Crypto Paradise is doing videos, and Liberty Swap actually replied to Crypto Paradise and said, in reply to this Crypto Paradise tweet here, this tweet, at Liberty Swap Fi is bringing a wave of new capital to Pulse Chain, and this was a quote tweet of a Surf community member that made a pretty cool little video here giving Liberty Swap their props and, riding the wave of green candles that Surf is providing. And this was the reply from Liberty Swap. And, after this was quote tweeted, it gets a little better. Liberty Swap replied once again and said, "Great job, gentlemen. We're excited to share even more of the positive content you've created with the Pulse Chain community. Exciting times lie ahead." Now, does that mean Liberty Swap is going to be more than a bridge? They're going to be a content platform? Or is Liberty Swap just going to keep interacting with people that they like and that are providing positive updates on Pulse Chain? I'm not really sure. But needless to say, the timing of this is pretty cool because this happened right before Richard Hart came out and in his tweet said, "Hey, new pulsechain.com upgrade and start using Liberty Swap." And this was what was happening right before Richard Hart did that. So I'm not saying it's Richard Hart. All I know is people close to Richard Hart are definitely involved with Liberty Swap because Richard Hart only embraces things that he builds himself or that he has a 99.9% certainty isn't a scam. So really cool that Liberty Swap is interacting with Crypto Paradise and other KOLs and influencers and community members of Pulse Chain. And hopefully we can keep working with them in the future. Liberty Swap has added some specific tokens on their platform where people can bridge directly into them. No token tax tokens have been added yet. I do know that PTGC is working with them, and they replied and said, "Hey, we got to create a workaround because you guys have a token tax system. So how are people going to get from ETH to straight into a token tax token?" They're working on that, and if they figure that out for PTGC, you best believe that Crypto Paradise is probably going to try to reach out and be like, "Hey, Surf has the same token tax, similar contracts. Maybe Surf is a benevolent project on Pulse Chain that's spreading the good word and would be a good onboarding option." As we know, Crypto Paradise has got a lot of people over the bridge to Pulse Chain, and how easy and cool would it be if they could just one click from Base Chain or Solana or Ethereum and just one click into Surf rather than having to go through the whole song and dance.
That deserves crowd approved. Shout out to Liberty Swap. Absolutely can't wait to see where that relationship goes. Wouldn't it be cool if they launched a token too? That'd be interesting. All right, we have a gentleman here asking for us to point out. I think cat with hat, and he's mistyped it as can with hat. So I think it might be cat with hat. But in any event,
cat with hat.
Yeah.
Is that on cat with hat? So this is a rendering on dog with hat. We've been talking about, hey, maybe cat season makes a comeback. This is one that certainly was ripping and is now down to $3 million market cap. But, we're a big proponent of dub cat. That's done a double off the low. So maybe there is a cat season. Do you think Pop Cat or any of these make a comeback, Nate?
I don't know. The meme scene is an interesting one right now. We've seen some of the blue chips, surging back. We've seen a few new blue chips kind of, throw their hat in the race. But overall, what we saw last year with the amount of money, the overall volume, hundreds of billions of dollars in volume coming to memes, we don't have that right now. You've got a few good ones. You have a few here and there that are launching that are doing okay. We are certainly not in full-blown meme season. We are not in, there's no real hype around them right now. We have seen kind of a pushback into utility, into the traditional alts. IDOs haven't kicked off yet, but I think we're still in a bit of a holding pattern. We're seeing the top stuff run. I think when we get back into, full-on FOMO season, when the markets are absolutely going parabolic, I do think we will see another meme season. But as of now, there's not too many, trends within the meme sphere that I'm excited about. I'm sticking to kind of, our playbook of finding teams that we know that know what they're doing, that have, good connections, have done this before, are experienced at this, and aren't going to rug. And those are the kind of memes that I'm looking at right now. Things like, the movement coins like Fuck 9 to 5, like Dose, those kind of meme coins. Not doing too much speculation on hat trends and animal trends at the moment.
I'm with you, bud. Yeah, I just think that, and the title of this spaces or this live stream is, this is the phase one of the alt season. And in phase one of the alt season, you're not in full-blown risk-on mode. You're not in everything goes parabolic mode. You're not in, let's just invest in every, cat and dog on Solana that gets launched. You're in, okay, people are investing in the blue chips. People are investing in Ethereum. People are investing in, the top utility plays. And maybe, sure, you'll have a handful of memes running here and there, but we're by no means in that phase of the cycle where everything is going crazy. And so, look, will Cat with Hat come back? I don't know. The chart looked a little dead there for the past many months, but you never know, right? Like if the community's still active, it's still willing to put some spend behind marketing, it's got the right people behind it. It can absolutely run again. But no, we're not in meme season yet. I just think that we need to wait for these phases to play out like they always do. First it was Bitcoin, then it's ETH, then it's the big caps, then it's mid, then it's small. That's how it's going to play out again, and we're just not quite there yet.
Nice. Let's run through a couple more of these that we're involved with or that Surf has LPs with. I've been saying it's cup and handle season on Pulse Chain. A lot of bullish charts happening on Pulse Chain. Yeah, another cup and handle here on Teddy Bear. Broke out, retested, and it rose to a new high and then continuing to work its way higher. So if you like the Teddy Bear meme coins, whether it's Bear or whether it's Teddy, Teddy does look like it has another 40% in upside before it reaches its target. We'll see how that plays out, up over 186% off the low. Now, the original, this is where these guys fight, is Bear. Bear was tied to P-Dye and Atropa and some of that debacle that happened, so people kind of started fading Bear and going to Teddy, which is a pump tires competitor. But, Bear still 15 million market cap, still winning and having some nice price action. This does look like it could be a bull flag or that bullish falling wedge that we saw on the Surf token. And if that happens, you're looking at, you would take this flagpole, you would clone it, and you'd put it up here to see what your price objective is. And it's much higher up here, around 2,500. So I know, hey, look, I own some Teddy for trading purposes, but I have exposure to Bear and Teddy via Surf LPs. So I'm rooting for both. I'm not against any of you guys' communities. You guys battling it out is good content, good publicity. Right now, Bear is winning with the 15 million market cap. Teddy only a $3 million market cap. And Bear does look like, hey, I know there's a bullish cup and handle on Teddy, but Bear looks like they're creating a bull flag as well. So shout out to those teams battling it out and creating volume for Surf to take advantage of. And for those of you who are traders, hopefully you took a trade on Teddy. The cup and handle still has much higher to go. And then lastly here, Top Hat. The Top Hat meme coin. This is a Richard Hart's Top Hat done by Crypto Coffee. You need to have him on the show again. Up massively, 561% when it exploded and he came out publicly that he was the one who created this. We have a big LP with this one. Nice rounded bottom back into the median range of the price action. So we'll see if he can hold these consolidation levels and go to the upside again. Last time we talked to them, he has a lot of benevolent ideas and trading bots and revenue sources that he's willing to put into Top Hat over time. And we need to circle back with him to see if there's some collaborations that can happen with Surf and Top Hat. There is also a Surf and Top Hat LP on Emit Farms. If you want to earn about 45% APR over there, you can do that as well.
Pulse Chain Assets just killing it, huh? Pulse Chain is looking great, man. And one thing I love about Pulse Chain, too, from an investor standpoint, is that there aren't like 10 million tokens. There's, maybe, 50 or 100 ones that you got to have to kind of pay attention to and are legit and are building real things. So it's not like a Solana ecosystem where it's just like a bajillion things get launched every day and you don't know what to invest in. There's like not that many things to choose from if you're looking at the top coins. So it just kind of makes things a little easier, I think. A little less risky. We talked about risk in the beginning of the show. People not wanting to invest in crypto because it's too risky. Well, here's a Pulse Chain ecosystem that hasn't been spammed and it hasn't been infiltrated with tons of scammers yet, it seems. Seems like a lot of legit builders and legit projects over, at least the ones that we've been focusing on and talking about here on this channel. I'm sure there are scams out there. But I just love what's happening in Pulse Chain. Everything's ripping and roaring over there. My goodness.
Yeah, and then here's the last one on the list, X. This is who helped launch the Surf token. It is our third largest liquidity pool. So obviously we want this to do well. Continues to follow this uptrend line, putting in higher lows. And you got this wedge here. And if you break out, the move is back to like 65 cents. Of course, I think it's only a matter of time before X goes back to $1. And that kind of move is going to do wonders for the liquidity pool with X and Surf. Also remember, X has a ton of burnt liquidity with PTGC, with UFO, with PDI, with all the blue chips. So it gives us a lot of exposure to that sector of the market that we don't have big LPs with. So excited for X Protocol and what they're doing. And they're focusing on launching products for Pulse Chain that are going to buy and burn X and buy and burn PTGC. So it sounds like everybody's just trying to pump everybody's bags. And that's what I love to see.
Yeah, a couple of projects will be launching with the help of X Protocol in August here. So projects that are also launching with LPs connected to Surf and the buybacks of the Surf token as well. So a little alpha for you guys, but I do think X is going to do well. Yeah, man, Pulse Chain's killing it right now, and the beautiful thing about it is that it's still under the radar, right? It still has so much room to run once kind of the mainstream, let's say, cryptosphere starts to take notice of it. It needs to get listed on the coin geckos and coin market caps. You got to get some centralized exchange listings, in my view. When those things start to happen, you're going to see this ecosystem become more widely accepted, and people will be bridging their money over. And it does not take a lot of capital coming into Pulse Chain for everything to run. So you're early, guys. It's going to be fun. And stay tuned to Crypto Paradise for all Pulse Chain alpha insights, market analysis, as always. We're coming up on over an hour here. For anyone who wants to win the $10 in Surf, drop a comment, drop your wallet address in there. We're sending out $10 every day to the person who asked the best question. Thus far, we've had some interesting questions. Some questions I haven't quite understood the meaning of at times, but yet no one has dropped their wallet address. So you're going to want to do that, folks, if you want to win the free monies. Any final thoughts before we jump off today, guys?
Nate looks like he has to say something. I was going to read this short story by Richard Hart, at some point as well. Because this is, if this doesn't get you bullish on Pulse Chain, or this isn't a Chad that you want to lead your wallet, then I don't know what is. Nate, what do you got to say?
No, I was just going to say, now's the time more than ever. We've said this multiple times last week, but it bears repeating. We are getting to the last part of the bull cycle here. Whether that means it's 2 more months, 6 more months, another year, now is when things start to get the most exciting. You are not too late. Find good plays, find high conviction tokens that you're interested in, and lock in. This is not the time to be a passive participant. This is the time to be spending whatever extra hours you have in your week. I know we're all busy. Not all of us have the privilege of doing this full time, but with what free time you do have, put down the video game controller, get it, whatever it is that you're spending some of that free time with, devote a little bit extra of it to studying the market here, and you'll be very happy you did a few months from now when you've got a little extra width to your wallet.
And we'll end the show on this short story published by Richard Hart. So crypto, what are you going to do when the mass marketing starts ripping faces off? People are going to hear about Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex, and Pump.tires directly before they hear about anything else. They're going to hold something in their hands that works great and is impressive. Something they're not going to throw away. Hex did a 10,000x in price the first time, while being murdered with deca millions in fees on Ethereum. Now Pulse Chain exists, and when PLS goes up, Hex goes up, PLS, PLSX, Hex, Pump Tires, they all reinforce each other. Coin burning everywhere you look. It's amazing. Dry powder ready to explode. The weak hands shaken out violently. Amazing designs and reliability with years of track record. The match is nearly struck. Be ready for greatness. And haters, you might as well get your memes ready because you're going to be very butthurt. Season's greetings. I don't know. There's a lot there to unpack. We're not going to unpack it in this live show. Maybe I'll do a long form of what all this stuff means. But I would much rather have that than my founder dancing on stage to unicorns and rainbows. This is what I want to see. This is what will pump your bags. Does it happen today? Does it happen tomorrow? Does it happen by the end of the cycle? I don't know the timing. But this is a very wealthy individual who is starting to shake fingers at all those who doubt him.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that one, isn't there? I do think the real-world marketing is going to come into play. I think his massive bags of ETH are going to come into play, and I think he's got a lot of other tricks up his sleeve. But what he said about the ecosystem reinforcing itself with the burns, etc., that's all true. So the fundamentals are strong. Needs the marketing, needs some capital, and he has the means to do both. So, yeah, looking forward to what Richard Hart pulls out of his hat. And you guys who watch Crypto Paradise, you will be early, right? You will have known about Pulse Chain before everybody else, and that is how we make it, guys. So, great live stream today. We'll be back tomorrow. Remember, drop those addresses in the chat to win your monies. And until then, guys, we'll see you on the beach.